Here to present tonight on the topic of music and the Muse. Regardless of our backgrounds, our beliefs, our culture, our education, we're songwriters. We share a bond. I can't speak for you, but I sense that there's more going on than just thinking and putting pen to paper. I think there's a relationship involved in this process. The ideas seem to come from somewhere. Some of us experience that occasionally, some sporadically. Some of us experience it rather regularly. It's also possible that what I'm talking about is something you're not aware of or have never experienced before. Maybe you've read books and watched videos on songwriting. And sometimes that information is really helpful. Or maybe you just sit down with a goal and you work and work and work. Maybe like me, you've tried songwriting challenges like FOM or 50-90 with a goal to write a certain number of songs in a short time period. And talent and effort can accomplish a lot, but inspiration is different. When inspiration strikes, I think there's something bouncing around between us and those ideas we receive. The ones that sparkle, shimmer, that strike in a way where we realize we must capture this in that moment. Because if we don't, might leave and never return. I think the seed of those ideas comes from outside of us. I think it's planted in our being. I think if we shine our inner light on the rich soil of our hearts and water it with our blood, sweat, and tears, it grows into something unanticipated and glorious. Artists around the world and across millennia have known its experience. Regardless of what medium they create in, it's a personal relationship with something historically called the Muse. Quote from Wikipedia, handy one, said, "In ancient Greek religion and mythology, the Muses are inspirational goddesses of literature, science, and the arts." Inspirational goddesses. In the faith tradition I grew up in, they called it the Holy Ghost. Now, while I no longer practice that religion, I still believe in the Spirit in some sense. I've experienced a connection with something outside of myself that provides clues and light and ideas I hadn't thought of before. This mystical interaction gives my life direction, purpose, meaning. If this all sounds a little too woo-woo for some of you, you can label it whatever you want. Maybe you call it your deepest self, your true you, the universal consciousness, or just chance. Regardless of which label we prefer or apply, it feels to me like a dance with an elusive partner. I first realized I had some kind of connection with the Muse when I was 12. I wrote my first song. It was probably informed by reruns of the Monkees TV show on Saturday mornings. But it was the beginning of something that I didn't quite understand. I knew I wanted more. I had a cool aunt, Mary Ann. She'd take me for rides in her AMC Gremlin with the Levi's blue jean interior. And it was amazing. She played her 8 tracks. Some of you may have to go look up what those are. But I had a big collection of them. The Beach Boys' Harmony. The Guess Who's versatility. Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman. These caught my ear. My interest in songs grew. both musical soundscapes and the wordscapes. I discovered Chicago, Alice Cooper, Elton John, Jim Croce. Yes. I'm not saying yes, I'm talking about the band Yes. Yes. And other bands who showed possibilities of music. And then Queen came along. And they proved that absolutely anything is possible. And that anything and everything is worthy of being on the same album. Regardless of how different the songs are, a good song is a good song, period. But that kind of freedom is a lot for me to juggle in my mind. Unlimited sonic and lyrical potential, that's a box seemingly infinite, and I don't know where to begin. It's just a big, blank, white sheet of paper that stares back at me and mocks me. I need help. I want to connect with the source that I've relied on time and time again. I had the same problem thinking about what I talk about here. I wanted to share something, but I didn't know what to share. So what I did is I stepped back, I opened my heart, I waited for the muse to whisper. And shortly after we shared that little exchange on Facebook Messenger, Dan, it arrived in a torrent that I dictated into my iPhone non-stop for like 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes. I don't know how long it went. But what I'm telling you here is what came out. The thing is, I feel like others in this room are far more qualified and experienced talking about their approach. I remember Steph's on rhyme schemes, John's on using the looper. Many of you are far more proficient with your instruments, with your songwriting, with your use of technology. And while I do all of that, I feel like I do it to a lesser extent. I fall into the trap of imposter syndrome. I don't feel good enough or worthy. I feel less than the rest of you. But I've learned that imposter syndrome comes from some primal, frightened, wounded place inside us. And like the Muse, many labels have been created to describe aspects of the imposter syndrome. The id, the ego, the flesh, the carnal mind, the lizard brain, the fight or flight response, the shadow, gremlins, demons, even the devil. This is forged in our deepest fears. Regardless of what label you prefer, it's not our ally. It discourages us with lies, half-truths, fear, guilt, shame. It tells us we're unqualified, untalented, unacceptable, unworthy. It nudges us to throw in the towel. I know that feeling. But what I've been learning over the last few years is that I am worthy. I'm unique. No one has lived the life I've lived or experienced all I've experienced or made the specific and costly mistakes that I've made along the way. Mine is a unique story, a unique perspective, a unique combination of gifts and training. I have a unique voice. I'm convinced I have something meaningful to offer people. And I aim to do that unapologetically now. I'm not saying what I offer is better, because I don't believe music or art in general is a contest to be won. I don't think there is such a thing as best. Those categories are for people who want to divide us to make a buck for themselves. Everyone in this room is of equal worth. The quantity of our output and the reach of our audience may be different, but that doesn't mean that it's not without a unique purpose for each of us. We're all planting seeds for people to carry with them in their hearts, for them to muse upon. We've been given something from the Muse that helps other people muse. For me, that means I need to be a good servant of this gift and freely give what flows through me, planting those seeds everywhere that I'm invited to do so. I'm not begging for opportunities, but when I'm invited, when I'm welcome to, I'm a servant ready to share. The Muse freely gives ideas and opportunities waiting for us to respond. It hands us something that we can hand to others, that they can hand to others, and on and on and on. It's not about me. That's a powerful perspective that I've been working hard to integrate into my life. But my deep fears, my imposter syndrome, and all that goes with it, they still scream sometimes. They demand more and more attention, trying to distract me from my purpose as an artist. So what do? I try to keep myself prepared and responsive, because the Muse brings to me, and the Muse brings through me, something that is life itself. Not just for me, but for others. But if I'm not responsive, the Muse will give that seed of an idea to someone else. And this is the truth. Twice in my life, I've heard songs on the radio that the Muse tried to give to me a year or more earlier. Twice. And I refused to receive them at the time. I was too busy. I was too tired. I was thinking about something else. Twice. Lesson learned. So what I do now, in the morning, I make coffee, of course, that's first priority. And I go to my home office that doubles as a studio, and I sit in silence, and I loosely go through a kind of ritual that I've developed to keep me prepared. I need and I want guidance in my life, not just for songs, but for everything. And I've learned that I can trust the Muse to provide it. When I'm paying attention, I find it really is provided. And this chases away my worries and my fears, and it helps me to see the problems that I do encounter as growth opportunities. And that's priceless. So rather than fight the flow of my life, I'm at peace as I look for the lesson. I can get out of my head and be present for other people. And that's hard for me. But I'm learning it. I'm learning that it's not about me. I have to keep reminding myself of that, because old habits die hard, but being a servant of the Muse is far better than being a slave of the ego. I suspect some of you might know what I mean. So each day, and before opportunities to share like this, I ask for 4 things. I ask for guidance from the Muse. the Spirit, the Creator, the Divine, the Universe, God, whatever label you want to use, the reality of it is far more important than which label you apply. I ask for guidance. I ask for inspiration. I ask for it. Not just about art, but about everything. My day job requires inspired art ideas. It's how I make my living. How I interact with my wife and my children and my friends needs the infusion of inspiration so I can connect at a higher, better level. One that's helpful and healing and connecting. So I ask for inspiration. I also ask for refinement. The Muse may provide a few words or sounds, the germ of an idea, the opening line or a title. But I have to respond and follow that flow. Whether it's music, lyrics, poetry, or essays like this. What I do is I let the flow continue unhindered. I don't judge it. That's something I learned in film. You don't have enough time to write 14 songs in 28 days and critique every single one, every single line. You just let the flow out and then you go back. And only when the flow stops, then I'll step back, review it, begin to shape it like a sculptor, molding, adjusting, refining, and polishing, version after version after version after version. I can't believe how much rewriting I do now compared to in the past when I scribbled it down and there it's finished, and it really wasn't. So I ask for refinement, and then I have to do the work. And then I ask that my needs are supplied so I can focus on the real reason I'm here and not let worry and fear get in the way of this vital experience. And the reason I'm here is not to sell hours of my life to pay the bills. I'm here to be of service to others because it's not about me. The more I create, the more seeds I have that I can plant for future generations. Not just for now, but for the future. Native Americans talk about doing everything with 7 generations in mind down the line. I'm trying to incorporate that in my life as well. Guidance, inspiration, refinement. My needs are supplied. This has led me to create a personal mission statement as an artist, as a person, as a human being. Here it is. It doesn't have to be yours, but it's mine. To use my experiences, my intellect, my talent, and my creativity to plant seeds of love, of joy, of peace, of humility, of generosity, of mercy, of forgiveness, seeds of hope that grow to nourish the world. I review that pretty regularly to keep myself on track. And then the last part of my little morning ritual, and it's always changing, but these pillars remain the same, is I close with the following request to focus myself to be of service. 4 more things. Open my eyes. Not really just my eyes, but that's where I start. My senses, my awareness of what's going on around me, what's really happening in front of me rather than the irritation I might feel when I want to jump to a conclusion and judge something. Open my eyes to what's really going on. Open my mind, my thinking, my understanding of what's happening. Now that I recognize what's happening, I want to understand it and the implications. Then open my heart, my passion, my compassion, my energy, my vitality. Open my heart so that I can put in the right kind of energy with the right understanding and the right awareness to truly be of service, whether it's with my music or my life. And finally, open my hands. It's a practical thing. It's action. It's not just about what's going on inside my head, but it's getting involved. Giving when I should give, and being willing to receive when someone wants to give to me. Embracing when someone is hurting. Carrying, lifting, and doing the hard work for somebody else. Open my hands. The wild thing is, after more than a year of following this outline, pretty much every morning, the Muse gave it back to me as a song. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't trying for it. And it just poured out of the sky, or wherever it came from. And it helped to reinforce the lessons, expanding on each of these points in a way that I personally find particularly meaningful. Maybe it's meaningful to others too. So I'd like to share that song with you now, if that's okay. I'd like to ask my good friend, the man who always makes me sound much better than I am, John Finan, to come on up and join me. We have never played this together.
No pressure.
Doesn't matter. And I'm hoping that when we get to the very end of it, and I keep repeating this thing over and over, that you'll join with me and sing if you feel like it.
I'll talk for another second here, just to make sure I'm too.
Yeah. My eyes, my mind, my heart, my hands. to give, to receive, to share, to relieve, to accept, to embrace, to build a world of peace and grace. Take it, open my eyes so I'm not sleeping.